Now at 6, multiple area emergency service agencies team up for a training exercise. Plus, Miami's drone team assists in the arrest of a man in Wyandotte wanted by U.S. Marshals. And Kansas deals with a shortage of attorneys. KOAM's Tanya Bach examines the impact.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
The Joplin Fire and Police Departments today conducted a training exercise to prepare responders for situations where they all need to come together, like an active threat event. This is KOAM News at 6. I'm Dow Quick. 13 other area emergency services agencies also participated in the 3-day-long course. KOAM's Fernanda Silva has the story.
West Central Elementary in Joplin served as a training facility for more than 40 first responders as they participated in the Active Threat Integrated Response course hosted by Louisiana State University. The drill was as realistic as possible.
We'll be staged in an area and they're going to start dispatching us as if an event occurred here today, and we'll have to respond to that as we would on the street, as we would normally.
We have all kinds of different role players, moulaged in various things, so there's Hollywood blood in there, the radios, the comms that they have to talk back and forth to each other, and then we have to get that integration.
Integration was the key word and the big emphasis of the course. The goal of having multiple agencies training together is to be ready and aligned in case of an active shooter event.
There's going to be a lot of chaos if something like this were to happen in our community, and the more we train together, the better we're working together, the more likely that chaos will go away quicker.
If there was an event to happen, whether it's Oronogo, Webb City, Carthage, Reddingsville, all who are represented here today, that we can easily, quickly, and familiarly integrate with one another and provide that support that we all need.
So far in 2023, the U.S. has experienced almost 520 mass shootings, according to the Gun Violence Archive.
So we're at more active shooter events than there are actually calendar days right now.
More than 50 school shootings have happened in the United States this year as of September 19th. This is why it is important for events like this to happen in facilities like West Central Elementary that is currently not being used by students.
Instead of simulating it or drawing it out on the concrete or in the gym floor, yeah, you physically got to move stairs. You physically got to go upstairs. Doors are locked. How do we get into locked doors?
The goal is to be over-prepared so we're underwhelmed. We hope that this never happens in our community or any of our surrounding communities, but we have to prepare ourselves so we can best protect our citizens.
In Joplin, Fernanda Silva, KOAM News.
The training counted on MSSU and Crowder College volunteers who played roles required for that training. Warm day out there. Let's check in with Chief Meteorologist Doug Hetty.
Yeah, another day. Most of us into the upper 80s for afternoon highs, even 90s in our far western counties, still sitting at 91, Yates Center 91, and Independence. Pittsburgh 86, we have 86 as well, Neosho and also Carthage, but clear skies. We're going to have clear skies throughout the evening hours. If you'd like to get outside and enjoy it, nothing going on across the entire Central Plains. Here's your evening planner, dropping back through the 80s, 70s, eventually into the mid 60s later on tonight. But the heat, warm/hot, sticks around through the weekend. We're going to be dry next several days. We do have big changes late next week as our new pattern finally starts and takes off. So we're going to talk more about that all coming up here in just a bit.
Catch in a few. Images shot by a drone showed the arrest today of a fugitive in northeast Oklahoma. U.S. Marshals asked for assistance from the Miami, Oklahoma Police Department to find Lucan Logan, who had a warrant in Ottawa County for a drive-by shooting that took place in Wyandotte in late August. The victim suffered minor injuries. A tip led authorities to 2 people in a tent in a heavily wooded area near Wyandotte. The police drone monitored the scene as police made that arrest. In addition to Logan, authorities arrested 2 other people, including a woman accused of harboring the fugitive. State of Kansas is battling a shortage of attorneys, particularly in rural counties. Last December, the Kansas Supreme Court created a special committee to examine unmet legal needs related to the shrinking number of lawyers throughout the state. KOAM's Tanya Bach looks into the problems the attorney shortage is creating in southeast Kansas.
Monday, I was in I was in a felony docket with Judge Kreitz here in Allen County, a Zoom docket with Judge Alquist in Neosho County on domestic cases. I had cases in Bourbon County at 1:30. Child needed care case in Wilson County, which is Fredonia, at 2:30.
If you said Jacob Manbeck is a busy man, you wouldn't be wrong. He runs a general practice law firm in Iola, Kansas. He also takes on a number of court-appointed cases that keep him on the move in at least 8 different counties in southeast Kansas.
There's not an extremely high caseload. There's just a shortage of attorneys.
Missouri touts 4 attorneys for every 1,000 residents in the state. Compare that to Oklahoma at 3.4. But in Kansas, there are only 2.7 active lawyers for every 1,000 people. And 80% of the Sunflower State's attorneys live in 6 counties.
When you talk to those recruiters, they'll tell you that they have people that have graduated and they want to live in Wichita, they want to live in the Kansas City area, maybe the Topeka, the Lawrence area. They don't want to come to rural Kansas.
Jerry Hathaway is the Allen County District Attorney. He and Manbeck are 2 of the 12 total attorneys who call Allen County home. With fewer lawyers like them in rural counties, that attorney-to-resident ratio expands. In the 31st Judicial District, and that includes Allen County, there's 1 attorney for every 772 residents. But in the district that includes Bourbon, Lynn, and Miami counties, there's 1 lawyer for every 1,038 people. As the prosecutor, Hathaway says he sees the shortage most on the defendant's side of the courtroom.
The majority of the time they spend with their client is before, a docket in court. And so they're rushing around, meeting with their clients, doing the docket in court, and then in the afternoon they've got to be down in Parsons or they've got to be in Fort Scott or something, and they have to do it all over again.
They've had to go up to the Kansas City metro area or different areas of the state to find an attorney to represent one of our local defendants.
Like many counties in southeast Kansas, Cherokee County Sheriff David Grove says the attorney shortage trickles down to his jail too, with longer stays for inmates between court proceedings.
Somebody that's arrested today probably isn't going to get through the process within 2 years.
And a bigger stack of cases for rural attorneys.
I think that here lately, within the last few years, it seems that the cases maybe haven't increased in volume, but they've increased in intensity, which requires a lot more work.
But for attorneys like Manbeck, they'll continue to weather the shortage storm.
I'm from Humboldt. My wife is from Iola. Ever since I was a little kid, I wanted to come back and practice in my hometown.
Just to keep that sense of small town pride alive. Reporting in southeast Kansas, Tanya Bach, KOAM News.
Tonight at 10, we're going to meet a Pittsburgh attorney who's serving on the Kansas Rural Justice Initiative Committee. We also look at possible solutions the committee is pursuing to help curb the Kansas attorney shortage. Later, Miami and Dewey face off on the softball diamond. John's going to have details on this regional matchup in sports. But first, the Carl Junction School District brings in 2 new principals. The Carl Junction School District hired 2 new leaders this week for its primary 2nd and 3rd grade building. Jake Stevenson is stepping in as the head principal with Austin Rhodes as assistant principal. Both principals expressed excitement to get started in their new roles and their affection for the Carl Junction community.
By domain.
It's a very family-oriented district. I think it's a family-first environment. I think people support and care for one another. And that starts from the top and works its way all the way down.
Carl Junction has always been a special place. The moment I stepped in here in 2005, just getting to know the people and how welcome they are, the community, it's just a hard place to leave.
According to the principals, the transition has been smooth and successful as they step into their leadership positions. A little later, the Pitt State football team gets ready to hit the field again. John's going to have their Week 5 preparations coming up in sports.
And when are we going to start to cool off and feel like fall? We're going to look at that coming up. Well, another great day for us today. Plenty of sunshine across the region and temperatures, again, kind of teetering on hot, upper 80s to lower 90s across the region. It looks great right now. Indigo Sky Casino and Resort just outside of Seneca, Missouri, and you can see those crystal clear blue skies. All right, let's zoom in. Temperatures a little bit cooler on the Missouri side, still warm. 87 in Nevada, 86 in Neosho, 89 Veneta, 89 in Chanute, 90 in Neodesha. Sedan is sitting at 91 degrees, and we aren't alone. Look at the warmth that is pushing north across really this entire Central Plains. And it looks like as we go through the next several days, our temperatures, they're going to mainly stay upper 80s to near 90 degrees. 87 right now outside 7th and Range Line. Visibility is good. Southerly winds at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. We're going to slide back through the 80s, 70s, eventually mid 60s later on tonight, but clear skies. Not much is going on here. In fact, the entire Central Plains, we have clear skies. Look out west. Not much is going on. This is our weather as we go through the next several days. We are going to start to see some changes, but not until the middle to latter half of next week. All right, let me step you through the next 48 hours. By morning, sitting mid 60s, clear skies. By the noon hour, already we're going to be in the low to mid 80s, and then by afternoon, most of us near 90. 90 in Nevada, 87 in Neosho, 90 in Miami, Chanute, up to 92 degrees. Tomorrow night, pretty much clear, mid 60s. Once again, as we go into Saturday, kicking off the weekend, very similar, upper 80s to near 90 degrees. So it looks pretty good over the next couple days. Here's your day planner, 68 to start the day, 85 by noon, high temp of 89 degrees. So if you're heading out, high school football tomorrow night, it looks good. It's warm for football, but it still looks pretty good. Kickoff, we're going to be sitting at 83 by the end of the games, down into the mid 70s, but we're going to stay dry. Plenty of sunshine through the evening and then clear skies tomorrow night. So what's causing this? Big dome of high pressure. This is the part of the pattern that we had the triple digit heat during the summer months. So it's still sitting right on top of us, but our pattern is about to change, and it does it next week. Next storm system rolls in, and we're going to be in this pattern starting next week for the next year. So we get some showers, we get some thunderstorms into the region, also much cooler temperatures start to work in. If you like the heat, you're going to like the forecast the next few days, upper 80s to near 90 degrees. If you like the cooler temperatures, you're going to lean toward late next week, 70s for highs, rain chances, which of course we need, back in on Wednesday and Thursday of next week.
Weekend looking pretty nice, I think.
It looks pretty good, yes.
Good time for some outdoor plans. Thanks, Doug. Still ahead, Miami softball tries to beat Dewey for the second time in a couple of days to win a regional championship. And Pitt State football turns its attention to Northeastern State. We're going to hear from the Gorillas ahead of their Week 5 game. Up next.
Pitt State football, who enters this weekend as the number 3 team in the country. It's the road to face Northeastern State on Saturday. Now, the Riverhawks have had the complete opposite start to the year as the Gorillas. They're 0-4 and have been shut out 3 times. But PSU is prepared to bring the same energy that it does to every game.
Road games are always fun. But it's also very different. Obviously, our crowd, our atmosphere is a lot different than a lot of places. It's unlike any other place, and so going on the road, you have to. We have another motto: it's kind of bring your own juice. Sometimes, other atmospheres may not have as many fans. It may not get as loud, so we have to bring our own juice and have a good mindset going into away games.
They play extremely hard, and I've always thought that JJ does a great job with those guys, just from a scheme standpoint. They know how to attack defenses on their offense, and they know how to try to shut people down on defense with what they do. They changed up their defensive scheme to a 3-4 front and adding a lot more movement and blitz tracks to that.
Miami softball took down Dewey in a thriller yesterday afternoon to advance to the Class 4A Regional 15 Championship game. Now, it's a double elimination tournament, so the Lady Bulldoggers won again this afternoon to force a rematch for the title. And Dewey takes Game 1 of the championship. Dewey held a 7-0 lead early. Miami scores the last 3, but it's not enough. And again, this is a double elimination, so if Miami had won, it would have been the regional champs, but because this was just the first loss of the tournament for the Lady War Dogs, it forces a winner-take-all matchup 30 minutes after the first contest ends. But the Lady War Dogs turn around in less than 30 minutes later in the third meeting between these two in the past 2 days. Miami gets the biggest win yet, 13-1 final score after just 5 innings. The War Dogs win by run rule. They finish as Class 4A Region 15 champions. We'll have highlights tonight from both games, and they're on to the Super Regionals next. Colgan football has been a machine so far this year. The Panthers won their first game of the season tight, 27-20 over Frontenac. From that point forward, they've outscored their next opponents 135-8. This evening, Colgan hopes to continue that dominance. It's senior night at Hutchinson Field. Tall task for the Vikings of Northeast to enter this game at 0-4. Kickoff in Pittsburgh just over a half hour away. We'll have highlights tonight at 9 on Fox 14, and then again right here on KOAM News at 10. And another team that's dominating competition right now, certainly deserves plenty of recognition, is Jasper Volleyball. The Lady Eagles been on a tear since their season started in August. They're 20-1. Their only tie came against Diamond in a tournament at Lamar. Eagles back in action at home against Osceola tonight. That one gets started at 7 o'clock as Jasper tries to remain unbeaten. Back to Pitt State. One of my favorite parts of the press conference today, I asked Coach Wright, I say, Coach Wright, you got an undefeated team coming in next weekend. How do you keep your team's focus on a winless team this weekend? And he says, well, maybe I just stop them from answering your questions. But yeah, the Gorillas do seem ready. You know?
I think so. Yeah. Let's see if they can keep that streak going. We'll be right back. Here's a look at what's coming up on KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. We're going to look at possible solutions the Kansas Rural Justice Initiative Committee is exploring to help curb that Kansas attorney shortage. Plus, a job fair in Noel, Missouri aims to help laid off Tyson workers, and how Congress could help save pandemic-era funding for child care services. Those stories, a lot more, of course, it's all coming up tonight on KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. The Columbus Chamber of Commerce held a business/health expo today. Members of the public could come out to get their blood pressure checked and get other wellness tests. The event also gave businesses a chance to promote themselves. For one chamber member, the event was about finding those opportunities right there in their own hometown.
I really hope that they actually realize and remember what they have in their own hometown and to be able to support our businesses here.
That event runs until 7 tonight, so if you're close, maybe you have time to run out there and check it out. Otherwise, you might want to just get outside and enjoy this nice weather this evening.
Yeah, it's going to be a very nice evening as we drop back through the 80s into the 70s. Of course, our evening daylight hours shrinking up very quickly on us. 89 tomorrow, near 90 as we head through the weekend, so a nice weekend. Rain chances finally back in next Wednesday and Thursday, which we're going to need it. Of course, a big pattern shift back into the 70s. So it's going to feel like October for the first week of October, but right now it feels like August.
I'm ready for October.
I am too.
Best time of year in the 4 states.
Yes, it is.
Thanks for joining us. We'll see you right back here for KOAM News at 10. Let's make it a great evening.